one of unique history, culture, economy. This country was started around the 1600s as a colony of Colombia of Spain. It remained a part of Colombia until 1903, when the country split away with help by the United States Army, and in 1904 signed an agreement to create a canal through the country, as there is only 38 miles between the two oceans and a large lake in between. As such, the construction began from 1904 and it lasted till 1914, with planned already making it larger in place. So it was built, and the nation unfortunately did not reap the benefits, as it was controlled by the United States. In 1977, they began to have it go back to Panama, finally, as the U.S. gave the lands around the canal over to the country in 1979, and returned it in 1999. Of Panama are included the canal, banking infrastructure, and old growth forest, mostly through tourism, banking operations, and on canal
The Panama Canal lets you get from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean without going all the way around South America. This speeds up the process by weeks. Also, it's built off of a toll system, so you have to actually pay a toll to actually use it. It also employs 9,000 workers and brings in tourism from all across the world. The Cologne Free Trading Zone is basically the biggest, one of the biggest trading zones, free trading zones in the world. And basically that's when all of the countries come together, or most of the countries come together, and they say, hey, we don't want trade barriers. So they get rid of trade barriers, which means there's no tax on imports or exports. So basically, this is very advantageous to a bunch of companies, and so they made Panama their main trading hub. And then this is great for Panama because where there are big businesses, there's a lot of money. Next, the banking system. Basically, they have one of the most trusted banking systems in the world, but it wasn't always like that. They used to money launder, and they were the money laundering capital of the world. But just because of bad leadership and a few mistakes doesn't mean that you can't fix your reputation. And that's exactly what Panama is trying to do. Panama was actually hit very hard during COVID. They went from a 66 GDP to a 52 GDP. Their personal tax is 25%. Their corporate tax rate is 25% as well. Their inflation has done nothing but gone down over the past couple of years, and their economy is doing nothing.
Hello everyone, we have now reached the portion in our presentation where we are going to take a look at the rich cultures and traditions of Panama. Now, many of these traditions have been in place for hundreds of years and are still followed by the people of Panama on a daily basis. Panama's culture is a blend of African, American, Indian, North American, and Spanish influences, which are expressed through the traditional arts and crafts, musics, religion, sports, and cuisines that you may find within Panama. You will also find in Panama that there are still 7 indigenous tribes living in the country today. Now, these tribes are a major influence on the culture scene in Panama, especially with traditional behaviors or religious views and beliefs. An example of a few indigenous traditions that can still be seen today are within fishing, ancestral hunting, and living in elevated huts or structures. Many of these ancestral hunting techniques have been passed down for hundreds of years through families from generation to generation to further build the tradition of Panama and the culture for not only the current generations, but also the future generations. When looking at Panama, you will also see a heavy emphasis on the food aspect within the culture. Rice, beans, and corn are staples of the traditional foods that you will find in Panama. However, there are also many different cuisines that are influenced from Central and South America, along with some North American.
Panama is an isthmus that separates North and South America, as it is located between and shares borders with Colombia and Costa Rica. It also connects 2 large bodies of water via the Panama Canal, which also divides North and South America. North of Panama is the Caribbean Sea, and south of Panama is the Pacific Ocean. The capital is Panama City, home to almost 2 million people. Many things have completely reshaped Panama City, such as a modern banking center, several large shopping centers, and high-rise office and apartment buildings. The rest of Panama is rural for the most part and is the heartland of Panamanian cultural life. Panama is often referred to as the bridge between two worlds because it is the crossroads of culture and international trade. Due to its unique geographical location, Panama is very diverse with a blend of different races and cultures. The population of Panama is 4.4 million people, the majority located in the capital, Panama City. The native language of Panama is Spanish, and the majority religion is Christianity, with 93% of the population having religion.
Panama local government is divided into 10 municipal districts. They are subdivisions of Manchester City for their own district and appointed by the current president. In addition, with the Supreme Court, the 9 members of which are appointed for the 10-year term by the president was approved the Nation Assembly. Their politics tend to follow a practice called personalismo, where the primary loyalty is to a strong leader, in some case extensional allegiance to a spouse or a second generation.